Hi, I'm David Ireland, the Wildlife Man. Welcome to the Wildlife Man podcast number 14. And it's titled, Our Family Dog Saved My Life. Now back in those days, we lived in a northern suburb of Sydney which backed onto the amazing Ku-ring-gai National Park. Very, very heavy bushland. And a wonderful place for my brother Michael and I to explore as we were kids. Now, on weekends and especially school holidays, my brother and I just loved exploring the bushland. We'd go looking for little lizards. Sometimes we'd see a big goanna sunbaking on the tracks, or we'd watch the red-tailed black cockatoos feeding their young. And something we really loved doing was catching yabbies in the creeks. Now my brother had heard about a series of blue holes that had been formed by erosion that took place over thousands of years in the bedrock. Now an old bushie lived not far from us, and he told Michael where the blue holes were. And they're actually situated about a 2-hour hike down a creek that we knew very well. He told us that if we put a hook on some string and baited it with red meat, we could actually catch big mud eels. Now that was something that we just had to do. So one very cold winter morning, my brother made up the strings with the hooks and some red meat. My mum packed us lunches and we're about to set off, going searching for the blue holes and do some mud eel fishing. And my mum said, make sure you take Skipper with you, because if ever you get lost, he'll always bring you home safely. And that's something that dogs can do. It just is amazing how they do it. They probably follow our scent back, but even if they divert from that, they still somehow know how to go straight back home. Now I remember that day so well. It was cold, but a beautiful blue sky. And Mum had rugged me up. I had 2 woolen jumpers and a balaclava and woolen mittens on. And we set off down that old kangaroo track with Skipper. It was just fabulous. There was that air of excitement in the air. I just loved the whole concept. We were going mud eel fishing in the blue holes, a place I'd never been before. The wattle trees were just starting to bloom, the beautiful yellow flowers, the scent of the wattle trees, birds, just such a wonderful walk towards that creek. Now, being only 5 and my brother 5 years older, I often tended to lag behind on those long walks. But Skipper would always round me up. He was so devoted and so protective of me. And Skip would come back and sort of round me up, and I'd hurry up a bit and catch up to Michael. Such a devoted, wonderful dog. I miss him so much. Eventually, we arrived at the blue holes. There was a really pretty waterfall. The first hole being the largest, maybe 15 metres across. Quite deep, crystal clear, blue as, so beautiful. You could see the rays of sunlight filtering all the way to the bottom of the pool. You could see the round rocks at the bottom there, where I hoped there'd be a mud eel. Now my brother baited up my hook and I threw my line in. He warned me, don't get too close to the edge. The big rock that I was standing on had a flat top, and it was reasonably safe. But near the edge it sloped away quite steeply and was moss covered and very slippery. So I sat down and waited and did as I was told. We fished there for maybe nearly half an hour. Skipper was all over the place. He was sniffing out everything. I don't know what he was looking for, possums or goannas or wombats or whatever. He was just having a wonderful time. Dogs have the most amazing sense of smell. literally millions and millions of receptors in their nose, far more than we have. They live in a world of smell. And Skipper was using it big time. I saw him on the other side of the rock pool, of the blue hole. And there he was on a small section of beach, of very coarse sand. And he was scratching around and looking there. I was watching him. I was just so happy, and so happy he was there. Kids love dogs. All kids should have a dog. And we always had dogs. But Skipper was, to prove that day, to be an absolute hero. Now, I love my brother dearly, Michael. But at that tender age, he was impatient. He said to me, "You stay here with Skipper. I'm going to explore some of the other rock pools, the other blue holes further down the creek. I'll be back in a little while." And off he went. So I sat there fishing. And I'm watching Skipper on the other side of the beach, still sniffing and scratching around. And it started getting cold. The wind started picking up. And then the clouds started to smother the sun. And the temperature just dropped. I was getting cold, so I stood up, trying to get warm. And I stupidly stepped forward. One step. And my foot was on the moss-coloured steep section of that rock. And I just slid into the blue hole very fast. Icy, icy cold water. And it saturated my woolen clothes. And I was being pulled under very fast. I had some training with swimming, but that shock of that ice-cold water and the heavy clothing all soaked, I had no chance. I tried to claw up the rock, but it was impossible. It was so slippery. And I was drowning. And I was drowning very fast. I can remember trying to breathe. I can remember water just in my mouth and up my nose and in my eyes. And I can remember the panic I felt. Where was Michael? What's going to happen now? Am I going to die? It was horrible. And then I felt pain. Reasonably severe pain. Sort of the back of my neck and my shoulder here. The lower part of my neck. Skipper had jumped in and swum out to me and taken a big grab of whatever he could get, which was the jumper and part of my neck and shoulder, and taken a big grab with those powerful jaws, and he started dragging me towards that beach. He dragged me up onto the sand. That dog, highly intelligent, strong, and so courageous, has saved my life. I vaguely remember what happened after that. I can remember hearing Skipper barking. And the barking must have alerted Michael, and he's come up and helped me. I remember him pulling the jumper off me and putting his jumper on me. I can remember it took forever to walk back home. But I was alive. The local paper did a story, Skipper the Hero. I wish I could find it, but that was 67 years ago. Those old papers went out of business a long time ago. So we're still trying to find an original copy. They say a dog can be a man's best friend and a woman's best friend. And that's certainly true. But it is uncanny just how smart and clever dogs can be. I wish Skipper was still alive today, because I owe him my life. I invite you to be a Wildlife Man podcast supporter. Now, your contributions can greatly assist us with the expense of weekly Wildlife Man podcast productions. Now, there are some amazing benefits, so please check out my Patreon page. There are numerous options available and they start from as low as $4 a month. Now, every week we will publish a new Wildlife Man podcast. So, if you enjoy, please subscribe. Please share, like, and ring that notification button so you never miss a new story being published. And remember, all my films are available streaming on demand from Vimeo. So that's it from me till next week. I am your Wildlife Man.